Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? I learned it is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel Lynn Lindsay.
What should I do with this gum?
Spit it out? Is it distracting you?
I want to chew gum into the thing, but I don't want to just...
Hold on, I might have
You got
some
something?
paper. This
Some
could
paper for the gum. Gum. Here it is. Oh, give me that. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Oh, this is a ticket. Oh, Beverly Hills.
Okay.
oh, daddy.
Whatever. What's up?
I'm good. I'm back in town.
We're gone a week.
Yeah, I've been doing my thing.
Okay.
North Carolina, Bojangles, we talked about it. Shout out to North Carolina, Chicago. I would like to say shout out to Black Mike the Barber. I think I talked about him.
You
He
did.
cut my hair
You did.
out there in Chicago.
You had a good time in Chicago? The rest of the convention was good?
It was fine.
Free
Rachel
of controversy?
was. What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? I had a good weekend. Friday, I went to a dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a McAllen dinner or something like that.
McAllen.
I don't know why I
85.
said something like that. McAllen, they hosted it for like some people. My friend put it on for people in the entertainment industry. It was good to see friends because I don't really see them as much because I don't work the carpets anymore.
Right.
And then Saturday, I don't know what I did during the day, but I went to Calamigos
What's
with
that?
my, it's a ranch.
Oh, Calamigos Guest Ranch.
I went there, had
Like it.
massages, spent some time with my girlfriend. Shout out to Shannon. And then I went to the fight.
Oh, you went to the fight.
The fight was fun.
I gotta say, shout out to a couple of people. Shout out to Terrence Crawford.
Did you think he won?
I thought he won. I thought he
It was
did
a little
enough to win.
controversial.
So I thought he won. Okay, you got to throw punches to win fights. Madrimov wasn't throwing that many punches. Shout out to Terrence Crawford. Shout out to Matt Barnes. Shout out to Andre Ward, who I saw was there. A lot of people were at the fight.
Oh, you're shouting out who was there. I was like,
Also,
what are we
but shout
shouting
out,
these
you know
people
who the
out?
biggest shout out I give to for that whole night is?
Who?
Martin Bacoli.
Who's that?
Martin Bacoli is a Congolese heavyweight. 6'6", 284
I'm
pounds.
trying to see if I saw him.
He fought, that was earlier on the card.
Oh, then no.
He fought Jared Big Baby Anderson. There were two big babies fighting. Jarrell Miller, who actually got robbed. Jarrell Miller, Big Baby, who actually got robbed. Martin Bacoli fought Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson, up-and-coming young American heavyweight. So impressive. Beat Jared Anderson silly. Think Jared still has a long future ahead of him. Think he's going to be okay. But wow, I was so impressed with Martin Bacoli. Congolese, fighting out of Scotland. He fights out of Scotland.
We missed those. There were a lot of fights before. It started at
Scotland.
1. Main fight wasn't until later.
Mm-hmm.
Fight wasn't as eventful, to be honest.
Technical boxing fight.
Yeah, but
Technical
there were a
matchup.
lot of people booing. People
Because
really want. I was like,
Madrimov was in front of Crawford a lot, and he wasn't doing very much. He wasn't throwing punches.
yeah. So, but overall, like great people watching. We happened to like park behind Karamo, so we hung out with him. We happened to be sitting next to two people that we knew. We had seats next to them. I went with Nina Parker. And we had a good old time.
It's fun.
I cannot complain. So some of your friends, I ran into my friend who I've been with since I was 12 years old.
Who?
Named Chase. Shout out to Chase.
Chase?
Trains a lot of people out here. Trace Weber.
Chase Weber.
Mhm.
He trains people for boxing?
No, just like in general.
Just trains them to
Mm-hmm.
get up. What's your opinion of trainers?
I don't have an opinion. That's their job.
Yeah,
What do
they
you want me
train
to-
people.
But he trains like,
People.
yeah, he was like ringside. I'm
Oh,
like, who are you
Chase-
training?
Chase Weber.
Okay.
Oh, Chase Weber.
Okay. Shout out to Matt Barnes. Shout out to like, come on.
These are, first of all, no
Come
diss
on.
to Chase Weber. Shout out to you, Chase Weber. But
I saw your boy Tay.
Tay Diggs was there? Oh, well, daddy. How'd that go?
He goes,
What'd he say?
he knew in the show. And then I was like, hey. And he was like, I know you from the Instagram. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. I was like, I'm Van's friend from Higher Learning.
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah, that's what I mean, the Instagram.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
So what did you say?
Good to see you, is what I said.
How long
man.
did the interaction
It's
last?
super quick. He said he was all over the place because it was a lot. Like it was a lot. It was overstimulating to just be in the event. And it was like closer to the
Interesting.
fight. And he had a son with him.
Yeah, interesting. Walker.
Yes, he had Walker with him.
Look, The Olympics are going crazy right now. We got to get into the Olympics.
Many stories.
So many stories from the Olympics that we have to talk about them all. First of all, let's go updated medal count. China, 52 medals, 21 golds. United States, 75 medals, 19 golds. The rest of the countries have other various medals. Question for you. Would you rather win the overall medal count or would you rather have more gold medals?
More gold. More weight. That's just my opinion. Not to diss on a silver and a bronze. Let me be clear.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. But I don't know. There's a reason that the way this is included on here is overall and golds.
Overall and then golds. You want to win gold. So we're still down. I mean, we're going to get a gold medal in basketball, hopefully. So I don't know if it seems like we'll be able to catch up to Chinese.
Let's see.
Yeah. We have to talk about Sha'Carri.
You sound disappointed.
I was very disappointed.
Whoa.
Yeah. Not in her, but just that she didn't win.
So you're disappointed in her?
That's different.
Like, you're upset she didn't win.
I'm disappointed.
And the only person who was in control of that is Sha'Carri.
I disagree. I'm disappointed that she didn't win, but I'm still proud of her.
Nice save. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her.
What the fuck?
Because you're playing with it.
I'm not playing.
If you're disappointed.
Don't play with it. No.
If you're disappointed.
I'm not okay.
You're mad at her You're disappointed in her performance.
I'm disappointed that Sha'Carri didn't win. I'm not disappointed in Sha'Carri. Does this make sense or am I tripping?
I get what you're saying, but I also, it's the only person who was in charge of her not winning was her. So you have to be a little bit disappointed in her.
No, that's actually not true.
Okay.
Because she was running against other people. It's completely plausible that she ran the best race she could have, which I don't think she did. That she ran.
She's never had a strong start out of the blocks.
That she ran the best race she could have, and someone could have just run faster.
I mean, shout out to University of Texas.
Well, that's who won?
Julian Alford. She runs at Texas.
She's from St. Lucia.
She's from St. Lucia, but she runs just like Sonia, Jamaica, but she went to Texas. I mean, she's an American citizen, but whatever.
So if there was one person that I wanted to win gold at the Olympics, like I would have taken Sha'Carri Richardson winning a gold medal in the 100 over the United States men's basketball team winning gold for basketball.
I understand.
I wanted her to win so badly.
I understand the sentiment. I did too. I mean, obviously with her not being able to run last year when, I would assume she would have won gold, not last year, but last Olympics. I would assume she would have won gold then. Yeah, she came in, there was a lot of hype, but not a lot of hype. People were excited for her. They were rooting for her because it wasn't fair, in my opinion, what happened in the last Olympics. She should have been able to compete. So I get it. I get the disappointment.
She's also running well.
And also, she's running great, but also I feel like you didn't hear about anybody else that could possibly beat her. It always seemed like it was going to be Sha'Carri. Not saying she didn't have competition, but it just seemed like it was hers to win. So, when Julian came out and, she won.
Yeah, she went and got that thing.
Yeah, she won. But Sha'Carri had a bad start out of the blocks.
It seems that there's some controversy, Rachel. Apparently, both her and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce weren't allowed to warm up.
Oh, yeah, they couldn't get in.
So there's a rule, apparently, that you must travel with your team on the team bus when you arrive to the facility there to be let into the team entrance.
Okay.
Sha'Carri and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce were not staying with their teams in Olympic Village. I think they're staying somewhere else. They said, fuck Olympic Village. Okay.
A lot of athletes, by the way, are doing that.
Okay. Fuck Olympic Village is what they're saying. I'm hearing also behind the scenes that Paris is a mess.
Yeah, but every year they talk about how bad the Olympic Village is. Every year. Every Olympics.
Well, do every Olympics, do people get E. coli from diving into the river or that people are supposed to do a triathlon?
Why are they I was like, why are they diving in the river?
Triathlon, yeah. So, and so Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce couldn't warm up. And so she pulled out of the event. She said, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Sha'Carri ran anyway. And some people are saying that not being able to warm up. She had to walk around to the front. It was a long walk. It took her like half hour to an hour to get around there, to get into the thing. And that might have taken a toll on her in some sort of way.
Mentally, for sure.
But you don't think physically?
Oh, well, no, I can't speak to it. But I can just say, I would imagine like you're already in a mindset, you're focused on the race, and then now that's stressful. That would make me anxious to have to do all of that. But I also couldn't imagine being Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who you've already said this is your last Olympics and you've made it this far and you pull out because you can't do warm-ups. I mean, I think it speaks to the volume of like how crucial it is to have those warm-ups, that you make it that far and you pull out because you didn't get it. Like she knew how much that could affect her race. So I think to what people are saying, I'm sure it did affect Sha'Carri. I am sure it did. Did she say anything?
A lot of this is just talk. There's also reports that she has an injury. But
Shelly-Ann.
But she didn't talk about it. It's difficult for me to find words to describe the depth of my disappointment. I know that my supporters share and shoulder this disappointment with me. I'm truly blessed to have had the steadfast support of my fans since my Olympic debut in 2008. With every step and win, you've all been there for me. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. So maybe they couldn't warm up. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe Sha'Carri just didn't have the best day that she needed to in order to win the gold. But she won silver. She'll be back again, hopefully, in Los Angeles for 2028.
Yes.
But we did win. When I say we, I mean the United States. And this kicked off the Diaspora Wars. You know how much I love them.
You love to stoke
I love the Diaspora Wars. You know why I love the Diaspora Wars? I love the Diaspora Wars because they're fun and meaningless.
Some people really take it seriously.
I get it. We're all different, but we're the same, but we're different.
Yes.
And there's nothing better to divide us and bring us together like Twitter. Like Twitter brings us together, but then Twitter also like rips us apart. Noah Lyles won the men's 100-meter dash. Shout out to Noah Lyles, who is a very controversial figure himself. By the slimmest margin you could basically win by, right?
Yeah.
A little chest.
Yeah.
He run by a nipple, a titty.
It didn't look like it. I mean,
At first, they said he didn't win.
Yeah, well, it didn't look like it. They had to go back.
Do you think it's fair that it's your chest and not your foot? Shouldn't it just be anything that gets over the line?
No, because then somebody could throw their whole body.
Then why don't they just do that?
Well, I'm saying if anything gets you over. I mean, listen, these are Olympic runners. They know how to run. I mean, like that's why they, like push their chest forward and they duck. They know that. So it is fair because that's understanding how to run the race.
Well, he won, and he beat out Jamaican.
First time America has won since 2004.
That's it. We got it. We're not giving it back. You had a good run, Jamaica. It was good. I gotta be honest with you. I fuck with Jamaica hard. Jamaica is dope. Jamaican people have a very specific spirit. You love Jamaican people. Have contributed so much. And I hope that they continue to contribute in all the different cultural ways that they can. Because there's nothing, Jamaican food, Jamaican dance, Jamaican political movements, okay? Very important political movements over there. It's not just about the arts, political movements, science, culture, all of that stuff. It's great. Sprinting, though, we back.
Why is that the one thing you want to take away from them?
We back. Sprinting?
In the men's.
Sprinting, we're back. The whole thing is about to fall apart. They had their run. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to put out anybody that's as fast as Bolt. Okay? The freak of nature. All right? It's not. It'll be 30 more years. Okay? But as far as everything else, sprinting, look, man, shout out to my Jamaicans, man. I fuck with y'all. I love Jamaican people. We used to go to Club Culture in Baton Rouge, and we would get there, we whine, lots of the girls whined it up. Allison, my roommate, was Jamaican. I want to make sure, I want no smoke with the Jamaican people. No smoke with the Jamaican people. But I will say this. That sprint shit is over. We back. It's Carl Lewis, nigga. It's Michael Johnson, nigga. It's we back, nigga. We back to the old days, nigga. We back to the days where niggas would run and they would be from America, just run straight, and then we would win that shit. That's the days that's back. The days of fast niggas from Miami, from fucking South LA, from Baton Rouge, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking Santa Monica Track Club. I'm talking really, we back.
Okay.
And I hope that all of my Jamaican friends out there are still friends with me because they talk about 28. It's going to be worse than 28 because we're going to be even backer. We're going to be
Okay,
even
I didn't realize how
backer.
serious this was for you.
Nah,
but
it's been serious for me that we can't win sprint. We're supposed to be able to win sprint. Once again, I would rather us
Why?
lose in basketball than lose at sprinting. We're supposed to be able to run. I love Usain Bolt. By the way, it wasn't just Usain Bolt. If not for Usain Bolt, it was Asafa Powell and then Johan Blake. Johan Blake, we talk about American sprinting. There should be nobody who is more pissed at Usain Bolt than Johan Blake. Because if not for Usain Bolt, Johan Blake is Usain Bolt. We back is the bottom line.
Okay, well, I'm thrilled.
Look, we still got the relays to come up, right?
I know. Yeah, well, yeah.
We gonna bust ass in them relays.
Yeah.
We taking it.
What you gonna do if Jamaica wins the relays?
But the diaspora wars on Twitter were hilarious. I think they were all in good faith. Sometimes all in good fun. I think sometimes people take it too far. But it's like what people were like, and fried chicken is better than jerk chicken and all of that stuff, which is true.
Okay, let's move on.
Nothing better than oxtails, though. You don't like oxtails? So you don't like oxtails?
Because I don't like saucy food. So, like, I don't like that it's, like, dipped in the gravy or whatever it is. I don't like all that.
Nigga, what type of anti-black fucking, I can't deal with it. Nonsense.
Well, the fact that you're trying to make us a monolith that all Black people have to like oxtails is the problem.
There are certain things that all Black people have to like.
Well, it's not oxtails.
Oxtails is one of them.
No,
it's
not.
high on the list.
Okay, what else? What else do all Black people have to like?
Do all Black people have to like? R&B.
Okay.
If you can't just say straight up, I don't like R&B.
Okay, fine.
If you're Black, you have to like R&B. You have to like that.
I'm gonna have to say you have to like Black people
You have to like Black people.
because there are some that
These
don't.
are the things that all Black people have to like. You have to like Black people. You have to like R&B.
It is not oxtails.
You have oxtails is not top 5, but it's in there. You have to like your ancestors.
Like and respect.
R&B. You have to like and respect your ancestors. What else? These are things that are non-negotiables. These are non-negotiables.
I would say that there has to be some things that you understand.
Okay.
Right? Like little things. You know, on social media, kind of like, you're Black, or like if you used to do this, like there's certain things that are particular to the Black community that you have to, like, when you go grab a plate, do you grab the top plate or do you grab underneath? Like, do you...
let me tell you something. You have to like your grandmother.
Yeah.
If I know a lot of white people don't like their grandma, don't like going over their grandmother's house. If you are a Black person that doesn't like going over your grandmother's house, I judge you. You have to like going over your grandmother's house. So there's some people be, I don't want to go over grandmother. That's for white kids. I don't want to go see grandmother. Grandma's old and all of that. Nah, that don't exist in our culture.
We need to come up with a top 10 list of
oxtails. Oxtails is not going to be that far down the list.
It's got to be another food.
Macaroni and cheese probably, but oxtail.
No. There are a lot of us a lot of Black people are lactose intolerant. And
wait a second. So are you telling me you don't like macaroni and cheese?
I don't eat cheese, and you know this. Okay, if we're talking dressing, greens, sweet potato pie, or just sweet potatoes, like a casserole, stop doing that.
Don't like oxtails, don't like macaroni and cheese.
Like, I could eat the meat. It's the gravy and everything that it comes in that's just, I can't eat that. I don't like that. I don't like saucy food.
The grandmother's house is very important. We'll get this list down. We'll consult people.
Help us, thought warriors.
I'm talking about these are some non-negotiables.
Black thought warriors.
These are some non-negotiables.
What about church?
Church is different.
Like, at least growing up.
I think.
I'm not saying as an adult.
Church is an interesting one.
because a lot of us were like forced to go, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's why I say when you're young, not talking about older.
Church is an interesting one. And then there need to be some things that we get in there that are maybe not in there. Needs to be some stuff that we put in to it. We need to change the standard a little bit from being some of this stuff and maybe put some other things in there. Like I would say if, like you said liking black people, I'd say we need to define that very, very distinctly.
Okay.
What that defines. Like you don't exploit and take advantage of and fuck over other black people. You know, maybe that's too much to ask. We're all human beings. But these cultural things, I feel like some people might grant you the oxtails, but the macaroni and cheese you're going to have a tough situation with in terms of that.
But like white people really like macaroni and cheese as well.
They don't like the same macaroni and cheese.
But they like it.
Nah, see, it's different though.
No, I know. Just like they don't like the same potato salad we like.
And so it kind of doesn't count.
I don't eat that either.
You don't eat potato salad.
Saucy foods. Like I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like Caesar's. I don't like any egg in it. Like I don't like whatever's in potato salad. It looks disgusting to me.
Have you had potato salad?
I don't like the ingredients in potato salad.
Let me ask you a question. I'll just ask again. Have you eaten it? Have you had it?
No.
You've never tried potato salad?
No.
What? Whoa. Okay.
It has things I don't like.
Okay, so I'm gonna shoot you some bail on this because you don't even know if you like it.
I don't like it. Boiled eggs, I don't eat that. I'm looking at the ingredients. It looks disgusting to me.
It's insanely good. Like really good. Like so good. Okay, I gotta finish up the Olympics beat. I'm gonna give you your choice. What do you want to talk about?
I gotta talk about the bounce back.
The what?
I gotta talk about the pole vault.
Oh, you want to talk about it? Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying.
No,
we have
go
to
for
talk
it.
about both. This is gonna be super quick. We cannot cover the Olympics and not talk about what had my group chats blowing up. I don't even know if my girlfriends were watching the Olympics until the moment that pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati took flight. Now he was disqualified because he missed the height, the target height of the pole vault.
Lost.
But as he was coming down, it hit his, how are they referring to it? Manhood.
It is
It knocked
his cock wagon.
It knocked it. And when I tell you let me just read some of the things you were saying in my chat.
Do you see the freak nasty
No,
dog?
I'm not. It just was so.
Did you see, like, Rachel, I want you guys to, Ashley, do me a favor. Run that back.
It knocked it. And when I tell you it.
See, I always get the blame. But here's Rachel's freakiness.
No, I'm just
Look
saying.
at Rachel, she's blushing.
Somebody sent it. I'm not blushing. I'm already shiny, from the sunscreen. Listen, I was told we had to discuss this on the pod.
Okay.
These are the messages I got. I was like, yeah, I saw this. This man is bound to succeed in other areas after this.
Nasty.
People are saying someone said he needs an OnlyFans now.
I heard you got that nasty woman's disease.
Someone said the way they would have had to escort me out of the stadium because I'm outside the locker room. Someone said they would have been on the track with towels and water. Someone said they would have pretended to be a janitor in the locker room. These are the things people were saying. It's one thing that he was disqualified, but it was that it hit his manhood. Then you saw, I just never seen anything like it in the Olympics.
Like a situation like that.
It was like an Olympic sport within an Olympic sport.
Yeah. I was wondering, because a lot of times I think about the Olympics, I think, oh, you work your whole life to get there and then it doesn't happen, right? But for him, did he lose?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, I'm sure he wanted to win the pole vault, but now he's the cockwagon hero
That's what I'm saying.
of like the entire world. And now he probably has all kinds of different opportunities because of that.
When one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah, it's probably going to have to open pretty wide for him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, he said it's a big disappointment. The conditions were good. It was the first time I started a competition without any stress. As I was a total outsider, I had one goal: to play with the audience.
This man knows. This man is a menace.
He knows what's going on.
This man is a menace.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
It's a big disappointment.
Mm-hmm. He knows
I
what
was
he's
an
going
outsider. I
on.
had one goal,
Yeah.
play with the audience. Who says that?
So your friends in
The group chat.
the dick chat is not what it's called now. The dick chat. They want to date him. They want to be with him. They want to see him.
They didn't say they wanted to date him. They just wanted to be in the vicinity.
Of
Maybe a closer look.
to see what
Maybe
the,
just yeah.
like.
They might have to change. They might have to change the equipment for pole vaulters.
Maybe that nigga could just use his dick to jump over the pole.
Because what he didn't say is that he was hurt. He didn't seem injured by this.
Mm. You think his dick is
The pole
impervious to
bounced
pain?
off him.
Yeah, it was 2 poles hit, and then
He could do this all
one pole
day.
lost. It's funny. It's funny. I've never
It
seen
is funny.
like I've never seen someone's physical attributes get in the way of something like that. I've never seen it happen, man. Shout out to him. That man,
But
he
I'd
the
like
man.
to see it again.
You want to see it? Okay. See? Freak shit. This is what I'm talking about. Just remember, whenever I get blamed or banned, because they say it on Reddit that I'm a sexual
But you're a deviant.
degenerate.
You're a sexual deviant.
I'm a deviant.
But
They
you
say
get
that on Reddit.
down
My
and dirty
back-
with it. You've been flying. You've
Yeah.
been moving around a lot. That happens
Yeah.
to me. But you get down and dirty with it. I'm like skating over it. You know, I'm not getting in the thick of it. I didn't even say dick. I said manhood.
It's still
That's
at
the difference.
At the end of the day, it's still dick lust. See, this is what I don't like about people. It's dick lust. It's still dick lust, and it's okay. My thing is this: it's okay. You got the dick lust. Your group chat got the dick lust. I probably know some of the girls who are in that group chat. That's the dick.
Kalika's not in it. I
Or
just
whatever.
want to be very clear.
It's
Kalika's not in
you
this.
guys got the dick lust in there, right? If she wants, I
But
don't
she-
have a problem
but
with the
she's
dick
not.
lust. But like, you guys got the dick lust. It's cool. When we get the ass lust
I don't say anything.
or whatever, just let us have it, because we know that y'all get the dick lust too. Everybody, shout out to Anthony Ammirati. I want to ask you about something.
What country was he representing?
See, now you about to go
Italy?
stalk the man's native country. I think he's French.
Yep.
I think he's French. Last thing. There was a lady who
Sorry. I'm just looking at what the headlines say.
what does the headline say?
Viral pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati breaks silence after bulge-related incident.
Bulge relay. His dick
Breaks
hit the
silence
thing.
after bulge crushed his opportunity. Bulge, just what they guess it. He gets $250,000 offer from a porn site, reported by TMZ.
You gotta take it.
You have to take it. Again, when one door closes,
Another
another
opens.
one opens.
So there was a badminton lady. She won gold at the Paris Olympics. I'm not saying her name because I don't want to butcher her name. She won gold, and she had the gold medal around her neck. She's walking out.
Yes.
Another member of China's badminton team, she's from China, another member of the badminton team proposed to her. Okay. It was a proposal. She won gold, and then she got proposed to. She said, for me, the proposal was very surprising because I have been preparing for the game. Today, I am an Olympic champion, and I got proposed to. So that's something I didn't expect. There has been all types of talk on the Twitter sphere, the internets, about whether or not this was an appropriate proposal. I saw Mandy, shout out to Mandy and Weezy over there at the Horrible Decisions podcast. Mandy was like, how dare he make it about himself?
Yeah, she said, I would never want a man kind of who makes it the moment about him.
Her moment about him, he's proposing. Your thoughts?
I think people are like getting too up in arms about this. I
Mm.
don't think it's that deep. A proposal is personal and it's particular to that couple. If you choose to do it a different way, that's absolutely your prerogative, but it doesn't mean that you should shit on other people for them to do it. One, I'm not sure if people are familiar, and I'm not, with the customs of how proposals are done. Maybe he had spoken to her before about the type of proposal that she wanted it. Despite having been proposed to previously in a very public way, I always wanted a private proposal. So this wouldn't be for me. But I'm not going to knock these people for doing it. Some people like to do proposals on memorable days. I've seen people do it on birthdays, maybe on a first date, maybe on a first vacation, a lot of firsts, so you can tie it to a memory. For her, this was a huge achievement, and he also maybe wanted to elevate that experience, or I who knows?
Do you think it was self-centered? Because people are
I don't think it was self-centered at all. Proposals are about proposal is about the person you're proposing to, because I can't say it's gender specific. It's not women.
It's heteronormative.
Yeah.
If it won't be that.
Yeah. But it's about the person you're proposing to. So like, how can it be about you? Like, you're down on one knee. It's all about that person. It's dependent on them saying yes. It's about them. They are the moment, no matter how you see it.
I saw two different things. I saw some women saying that a public proposal, especially in a situation like that, it kind of forces her to say yes, which I don't know what she said.
She said yes, she had a picture with her with the ring on her finger.
It kind of forced her to say yes. And then secondly, people are saying it's her moment. Let her have her moment. Propose back in Olympic Village. Propose after the cameras aren't there. Don't make her moment about you. Most of these people, I pray for their loneliness. But I can't, but I can see at least someone going, okay, it's her big deal. Now it becomes their big deal. Let her shine.
She was shining in the biggest way. She had a gold medal around her neck and a ring on her finger. That woman was shining. And I just think it's wild that people would say, so like, what constitutes not making it about you? So you can't do it on her birthday, basically. There are rules now. You can't propose on the birthday because you're making it about you and it's her birthday? I don't really understand the logic behind that. I don't get it. In no way was this about this man.
This is what I say.
I guess you're saying, sorry to interrupt you. I'll just say this. I guess they're saying he centered himself. This was all about her and he injected himself. But for her to get this ring on her finger, like, she got two things now to be excited about.
Yeah. This is what I say.
But
Hey, I get it. Something to talk about. I'll say this all the time. Just everybody be okay with being by themselves. And I'm not saying this in a mean way. Just know that, like, and this is men, women, like everyone. Just everybody be okay with being by yourself. Because that's the main thing. And the only reason why I say that is because, like, it just not gonna go every way your way the entire thing. That perfect shit don't exist. People are a little fucked up. They're a little crazy. It happens. Okay? Now, relationships come, relationships go. It's no big deal. But I do see a lot of people just shrinking the pool of acceptable things down to a limit that isn't possible for anyone to really adhere to, because they people sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We gotta move off the Olympics now. That was a lot of Olympics coverage. My back hurts, God damn it. I want to talk about a story just real quick, and it's not in the rundown. This is a racial surprise. I want to talk about the violence that's going on in Europe. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
So I just want to let people know real quick. We're gonna harp on this because we'll talk a little bit more about it in depth on Thursday. But there were a series of stabbings that happened. A terrible, unimaginable crime that happened at a Taylor Swift dance class. Children stabbed and killed. A rampage. Just a ridiculously despicable, disgusting, abhorrent. Just the worst of the worst. Misinformation has led to all types of unrest and rioting and violence by far-right groups in the UK. It was reported that the person that committed these crimes was an asylum seeker that was in the UK. That is not true. It was someone that was born to Rwandan parents in Wales. So this is someone from the UK, born in Wales. The misinformation exacerbated long existing xenophobia and racial tension that has been coming to a head in the UK for a while. The same far-right movements that exist here, that are popping up in different parts in South America, all of the places, those same far-right movements exist in Europe. And this sense of they will not replace us, xenophobia and violent thought has been rearing its ugly head for a long time. And now what you see is the Southampton stabbings leading to violence in the UK, and violence at random. They're just picking people that have dark skin and beating the shit out of them, hurting them, harming them, destroying businesses, over a lie, over something that isn't true. In fact, this was not someone who was an asylum seeker. And by the way, they identified the suspect in this, because the suspect is under 18, and typically they would not identify him in the UK. But the judge made the decision to identify this person to quell some of the uproar, the criminal activity that's going on over there, so that people would know that this wasn't an asylum seeker, and you shouldn't beat up your Muslim, Indian, or whatever neighbor, your neighbor from the Middle East, your neighbor from Africa, your neighbor from a different country that might be there seeking asylum, because you think that the asylum seekers killed 3 young girls at a dance class. You guys, the misinformation that you're being fed, all of that stuff, it's coming to a head. That's all I'm going to say. It's coming to a head. It's very important to hold accountable the lies. That's why you hear people say, let's fact check Donald Trump. Let's not just give Donald Trump the ability to go on any platform. If you're going to interview him, fine. But the lies, the misinformation, all of these things, it's very important to confront them head on, because if not, they're inculcated into people's intellectual truths, and those type of things end up becoming a powder keg that explodes.
It catches on like wildfire. I mean, we literally on the last podcast were just talking about a story that dealt with misinformation, and the way that even after it has been proven in regards to Amani, the boxer, even though it's been proven that she's a woman there are no transgender athletes, and it's illegal in the country, and all of these, and she's lost to other women, all these things. I'm sitting in the getting my hair done, and they're still talking about it.
Yeah.
And telling lies. I'm going back and forth or my sister's going back and forth with my uncle on social media. Still like, well, I saw this on YouTube. The way it gets fixated, these lies, because it fits a narrative or a bias or prejudice that they already have and just feeds into that, is so dangerous. And that's what you're seeing in the UK. And that's what's scary, is how do it think we are so connected as a world, things catch on so quickly that once people make up in their minds something to believe, they don't want to believe anything else. And we need to understand how dangerous that is. That is a scary place to live or scary place to be, because you could be subjected to that. It could fall into something that, who you are, who you represent, and then you become a victim of this. We can't live in a world where we believe the first thing that we hear without doing any type of research, questioning, fact checking. Just these 2 incidents alone is like, it has me shook. That is, and it obviously this has been going on, but to see it catch on like this, and then not catch on just in the way people think, but that people are acting on it, makes it the scarier part.
Rioters have attacked hotels used to house asylum seekers. They've beat people up at random. And we should say these are far-right groups that are leading this attack, this unrest. By this point, there has been enough out there for a lot of these groups to know that this is a lie that they're basing this on. This is what they want to do. So the misinformation, the xenophobia, the racism, there's always an outlet for it. There's always a place that it goes.
Yeah.
So it's very important for people to prioritize others' humanity in the ways that we're having these political debates, that we're talking about it. Look, I'm not going to say that it's not appropriate in a country to talk about borders or to talk about immigration or to talk about all of that stuff. You're going to have conversations about that. It's part of a conversation. It's always been a part of the conversation here in the United States. And to be honest with you, the United States has had in its past some really, really terrible laws and regulations surrounding immigration. The country of immigrants give us you're tired and you're weak and you're broken. That's largely PR. I'm not saying that America is not a place that's made up of a lot of different immigrant groups. What I am saying is anytime America is threatened or anytime the white power system of America is threatened by anything, be it procreation, be it immigration, whatever, that white power base is going to hit back. And it's not the first time that we're seeing that happen. It's happened in the past too. But even within those things that are coded xenophobic or coded racist or whatever, it's important that the truth is used as a disinfectant because people will die. And another thing is, last thing I'll say about it, is we're not even talking about the beautiful young girls, the innocent young girls that were killed in this situation and what needs to happen in order to keep our children safe and how something like this could have happened. And we're not even talking about that now because that's been hijacked by people who just want to go bust a nigga's head in. There's a cost. The most bizarre political story I think I've ever heard of.
Is it a political story?
It is. It is now.
Okay.
I want to say something. I know a lot of people that have been trying to get me to do different events with RFK Jr. And look, shout out to them because these are some great people. Some great people.
Events.
They want me to come, want me to,
They want you to interview them?
They want me to interview RFK and all that stuff like that. It was a different interview when he was polling at like 20%. But I wasn't being asked then. Just different times when everybody talking to RFK. I'm out on it. I don't want to. And these got some great people.
This is what pushed you over the edge.
Yeah, this is what pushed me over the edge.
Okay, I was already out, but okay.
But this is what pushed me over the edge. Look, RFK planted a dead bear in Central Park 10 years ago. There was a dead bear found in Central Park, and it was quite a story. And no one knew what happened to this bear cub. It was a bear cub, baby bear.
6 months old.
No one knew what happened to this bear. And it was a big story. No one knew how he got there. It turns out RFK Jr. fucking put the bear there. Is this true?
Like, the man is wild.
He's a menace. This nigga wild as fuck. Like, could this really be happening?
And guys, it's not like he just came out to say this story. It was going to be leaked. The New Yorker was going to run it. They called him because they were fact-checking this story that was going to come, that they were going to release because you have to call and fact-check on a written story. And then he decided to jump ahead of it by putting it on social media.
Yeah, he put it on Roseanne. Give us the audio
with Roseanne Barr
of RFK Jr. describing fucking clean over Yogi's pal Boo Boo. It's not even Yogi. It's Boo Boo.
It's Boo Boo.
It's Yogi's little homie. This nigga's a sicko. Play the video. Play the audio.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition. And I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear. And so then we went hawking and I had the bear in my car. And then we had a really good day and we went late. We were catching a lot of game and the people really loved it. So we stayed late, and instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad. So then I thought, at that time, this was the little bit of the redneck in me. There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes, and saw a couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. Every day it was in the press. And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The next day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper, and I turned on the TV, and there was like a mile of yellow tape, and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And then there was some people on TV in Tyvek suits with gloves on lifting up the bike, and they were saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get it fingerprinted.
Uh-oh.
And I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily, the story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a big article on me, and that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story.
I think it's a great story.
What? Let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. And they laughed and said it would be amusing for whoever found it. In what world?
Why do these, because he's a libertarian, politicians hate animals? We had the lady who killed her dog.
Oh, yes.
What was her name again? She was the governor of South Dakota or something like that. Find the name for me, Ashley. I forgot her name already. She lied in the book. Then she said she met Kim Jong-un, and then she didn't really meet him.
I didn't know
She
that
took
part.
it out of the book. She had a bad little go of it. Kristi Noem. She said that she met Kim Jong-un, and then in the book she wrote it, and then she took it out of the book because people were like, that's a lie. And then whenever she got asked about the fact that she took it out of the book because it wasn't true, she would just be like, I'm not talking about the book anymore. I'm not talking about my meetings with world leaders. It's weird. It's weird. But she killed a dog. She killed a dog.
Yeah.
Two things about this. I think he's lying. I think he hit the bear.
100%.
That's number one.
Well, one or two. Either he hit the bear, because when I watched the report from 10 years ago, I could have sworn they said he was slashed. So I don't put it above him just full out killing the
that he
bear.
just fucking went ape shit on a bear.
Either way it goes, there was no van in front of him that hit that bear.
He killed, first of all, I strongly believe, this is an allegation, I strongly believe that RFK Jr. killed the bear.
Sadly, yeah.
Strongly believe. If you took any one part of that story, it's fucking crazy. First of all, they're going hawking. They're going falconing. They're hunting game with hawks. Who the fuck is this nigga? Is this a Batman villain? They're going hawking. They had so much fun hawking all day that they didn't want to leave. He puts the bear in there. He goes to Peter Luger Steakhouse. He goes to a meeting.
Which he valeted.
Which he valeted.
The bear was in the
bear
car.
is in the back of the car the whole day. You guys, I've hunted, okay? I've hunted deer, I've hunted all kinds of stuff. You take the game, I've never in life, I've killed deer, I've killed rabbit, I've killed squirrel. I have never been in any situation where a deer or a rabbit had to be in the truck the whole day. Never. On the ride home, we getting them, we dressing them the whole nine. Don't hunt anymore, by the way. I stopped hunting at 15 when I had a face-off with 16 when I had a face-off with a rabbit. I don't know if I've ever told that story before.
I think so.
But this guy's fucking nuts.
A bear. He said he wanted to skin it. It was in good condition. Not a lot of people eat bear. That's also something that's a little.
He's okay. Let's say all of that happens the way that it happens.
Okay.
Let's say RFK Jr. kills Bear. Bear is in the car all day long for whatever reason. You go to Peter Luger, you go to a meeting, you're in the city, you're in Manhattan. Peter Luger, well, not, you're in New York. Peter Luger's in Brooklyn, but you're in New York City and you've got a dead bear. Okay. You take the bear and then you dump the bear in Central Park and frame an anonymous bike rider for it. RFK Jr. is the fucking Joker. I'm sorry. You can't tell me right now that RFK Jr., besides all of the other crazy shit that he has said that's come out of his mouth, and it's been a lot of crazy shit that he said, but this is actually, there's a picture of him making the dead bear bite his hand. Did you see the picture?
No.
You didn't see the picture? I didn't see the picture to the group test.
I didn't see a picture of it.
It's a picture of him playing with the dead bear. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Rachel.
That's not what I saw. I saw a
Rachel,
picture
you
of
gotta-
him
oh,
holding
no.
up a dog, talking about eating
No.
a dog.
Rachel, look at him. Look at him. Look at this guy.
Like something. I don't want to attribute it to the
RFK Jr.
tapeworm.
is a sick motherfucker.
There's a really interesting article in Vanity Fair that goes along, like kind of gives a history of RFK Jr., starting from the fact that, he was 14 years old when his father died, and how at 15 he started heroin for 14 years before he got off.
Mm-hmm.
And it just talks about how there was a documentary that his sister Rory was doing. And when they fact checked the documentary, they're like, he was saying all these wonderful things. And people were like, wow, he's so captivating. He's so charming, so well-spoken. Turns out none of the shit was true.
Yeah.
They had to take out everything. So he's been wild. And whether it's attributed to childhood trauma, whether it's drug abuse and addiction for years, this man has been off the rails. It ain't just a tapeworm that he said was in his head. He's been off the rails. There are stories in there of, like I said, I saw him taking a picture. He's holding up what looks to be like a dog. It's cooked. He sends it to his friend who's on his way to Korea and says, South Korea, and says, I hear they have good dog on the menu, and shows himself biting into a dog.
He says that's a goat.
He said it's a goat, but why would he do, like, the friend to this day who he sent it to says
Believes
it was a
it
dog. Like, to the point where he sends so many bad images that one of the friends lost their phone and was afraid somebody would see it and see all the bad things that RFK Jr. does. This man is unhinged. It's an allegation, but deranged. And it just
The bear isn't an allegation. The bear happened. But you talk about childhood trauma.
But I'm talking about all of this. And the family is so private and secretive. They've distanced themselves from them, but they won't do a tell-on on him. They won't talk about him. They won't talk about all the bad. They just cover it
I'll
up.
tell you something right now. I'll tell you who has childhood trauma. That poor little bear. Okay?
Wow.
That poor little bear. And there's a certain, I'm sorry, man. There's a certain respect that you're supposed to have.
For the animals.
For the animal, for something that's alive, for something that was there. It's just, it reeks of privileged, white, frat boy bullshit, just to not even give a fuck. And just it's funny to throw the bear in Central Park. The bear story became one of the biggest stories in New York. Everybody covered it. Everyone's looking for the culprit of the bear murderer. And I think we know who it is. I don't fuck around when it comes to animals. RFK Jr. is a sicko.
I'm glad you said the white privilege thing because, or you maybe said privilege. I added the white.
I said white.
Okay, the white privilege, because he refers to himself as a redneck in the clip, which also offended a lot of people. Like, they were like, he's like, I guess it's just the redneck in me, which is why he felt like he needed to do this. And there were people who were like, I consider myself that. This is something I would never do. Also, Kennedy grew up on the Kennedy compound.
Yeah.
Nothing about you is from the sticks or whatever, or however rednecks identify. I don't want to do that for them. But like, to label yourself, say like, oh, this is something that a group of people would do, and you're not, and you don't even know anything about them because you didn't grow up that way. You grew up in Massachusetts and Virginia. McLean. Is that how you say it? McLean?
We have an interview coming up with Mike Africa Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
who has a fantastic new book about the 1985 bombing that targeted the MOVE organization in Philadelphia. The legacy of that, his involvement in MOVE, all of that's coming up in a second. And get to Mike. Before we do, Harris is surging. 538, which is run by Nate Silver, now has Harris and Trump effectively tied in their polling averages. And something even more significant has happened at 538. For the first time in 538's predictive model, which predicts the winner based on a percentage,
Mm-hmm.
Harris is beating Trump.
Great.
And that, of course, is making Donald Trump and his campaign fly into racist attacks. They're attacking Kamala Harris's laugh. They're attacking her blackness. They're using sexist attacks, all different types of things. They have not found anything yet that seems to be denting the surge in momentum. She still has to pick the vice president. I think that by the time this podcast drops, that choice might have been made. It seems like it's down to two people.
Wasn't it leaked who it was and then they took it down, or was that just a rumor?
No, so it was Mark Kelly had seemingly said that he was out of it.
This was before then.
I don't know.
Right after we finished the podcast, there was something like that leaked that it was Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro.
And then like somebody accidentally leaked an interview or something and then they took it down. And I don't know if that was real or not.
So here's the deal with all of this goodwill. And this is why there's probably so much nervousness about the vice presidential pick.
Mm-hmm.
The right can't find anything to really ding Kamala Harris on just yet. Nothing's really sticking, right? Right? It's not going to go from being Joe Biden's border to her border.
Right.
Like the she's not really black thing. That's kind of an odd take, right? Some of the other stuff, like some of the sexist stuff, it's not really going to work and it's going to alienate a lot of people. I personally think that the bigger issue for Kamala Harris is not going to be what the right uses to attack her. It's going to be issues from within the party.
For sure.
It's going to be everybody who's loving her now figuring out in a couple of days or in a week reasons not to like her. And that's either going to be attached to any tweaks in her policy platform that she's made in the last couple of years in terms of what she believes. If she's not quite progressive enough for some, if she's not moderate for others. That'll be with the pick of the vice president. Whether or not that person has a clean enough bill of political health for whatever they've done.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the criticism, because the rights attacks don't seem to be really registering right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the most difficult game she's going to have to play is going to be within the party.
I agree. I think it's going to be the progressive issue. That's what I think. And I think a pick like Shapiro will upset progressives. And I think, and maybe people who are maybe in between liberal and progressive, I don't know what you would call that, who might be thinking, or just Democrats, period, that might be thinking she's a little bit more progressive than she is. And with a vice president pick, I think it's going to be more revealing because you're going to have to attach their ideals to her. And I guess I'm more so speaking if it's Shapiro.
Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks wrote an article for Newsweek, and it was about why Shapiro actually is the progressive choice. He's all over him. He says that Shapiro has a history of taking on different corporate interests in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. I don't think a lot of people know very much about Josh Shapiro other than two things that don't seem very progressive at all. One is his stance on school choice, and the other one is his stance on Israel.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Cenk's article was very interesting, and I also thought that the fact that Fetterman, something else that Cenk said, well, he said this, I'd seen Fetterman attack Josh Shapiro before, And the question is like, why? And I watched a video where Cenk said that's probably an attack that came directly from Benjamin Netanyahu. So I want to let people know, I do not know Josh Shapiro. I have never had any type of interaction with Josh Shapiro. I think there are safer choices than Josh Shapiro.
What do you mean about Netanyahu?
So
what are you saying?
This was what it came. So, okay. Shapiro has obviously been very hawkish on Israel and some of the things that he said, right? He's also talked really bad about protesters and comparing them to the KKK and situations like that. Also, when he was a younger man in college, he had written an op-ed in his school paper, and the op-ed said that he doesn't think that the Palestinians will ever be able to self-govern because they're too warlike. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. When asked about that, he basically said he's changed a lot since then. Obviously, he was a 20-year-old kid, and things are different now. However, he obviously is a lover of Israel. There's also another report that he spent some time on an IDF base or something like that. He went and trained with the IDF for a day for some odd reason. He was staying on one of the kibbutz in Israel, and for some reason he went and he trained with the IDF, whatever. So people were saying he's very, very close and tied into Israel. He also, though, said, and this is just based on reading that I've done, that Benjamin Netanyahu was the worst leader in the world. And there are some people that think that Josh Shapiro's love for Israel might be a way to actually get to a two-state solution. And everybody just rolled their eyes when I said that. But what Cenk and some other progressives that I've heard, is not just Cenk, but some other progressives that I've said have said that this is a guy who might actually be willing to bring some sort of stability to Israel and urge them to change their reputation on an international stage because he thinks that that's the best thing for the long-term safety of Israel. See, that's kind of not the way people talk. There's a school of thought that the best thing for the long-term safety of Israel is the obliteration of Gaza, the complete annexation of the West Bank, and the massive genocide and ethnic cleansing of close to 7 million people. I don't see any way how anyone could believe that. Because then you have a country that, no matter how big its friends are, has a perpetual bad reputation, or has a terrible reputation in perpetuity, right? Which never stops the terrorism, which blah, 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 blah. The best thing for safety in the region is the sovereignty of the Palestinian people. That's the best thing for safety in the region. But if you're too hawkish on it, you don't believe that. There you go. So some people are saying that Shapiro is that guy.
Gotcha.
And that he might not necessarily be the anti-progressive choice. That's just a little bit of
interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that to be true or untrue.
It's interesting.
I just know that I've never, ever, ever met a school choice Democrat. And I'm not a one-issue guy, but I've never met a school choice Democrat that I had much in common with. But there are other things. He gave like $1 billion to public schools. We just don't know that much about him.
Sure.
We don't know that much about him, and he's a very dynamic figure. So that pick right there comes with a lot of intrigue from some people.
I wonder, since Trump is now backing out and saying he only wants to debate Kamala Harris on September 4th, and it's got to be on Fox News, even though he had previously agreed on September 10th. And I don't know what will happen with that, but I wonder if the vice presidents will debate. And that could, I'm sure whoever the pick is, we'll learn more about them prior to that. But that would be a really interesting way to challenge someone on, their issues and their stances, and for the public to get to know.
Yeah, if you're thinking about who looks better in a debate in front of the American people, if you're thinking about running the score up like that, Shapiro would find the other guy right now. They say it's down to 2. The other guy is Walz from Minnesota, which you think progressives would be all for, but then there's some baggage with him in terms of the way he dealt with protesters doing the BLM protests. But even that wouldn't be something that the right could hit him on. it would be something that made people within the tent mad. But Shapiro would fucking dog walk J.D. Vance in a vice presidential debate.
That'll be great.
He would fucking dog walk him. That would be a 21-0 swacking that would happen. All right. Before we get to Mike Africa Jr., just to let you guys know, Kyle Rittenhouse has reversed his course. They bullied him into supporting Trump, or maybe Kyle was just looking for some
Attention?
attention at that time, but he seems to have gotten it. And now he is back on the Trump bandwagon. We reported the other story, so we had to report this one too. So I guess my whole big theory that he was being bullied into distancing himself away from Trump was wrong. He's dyed in the wool MAGA. Couldn't give a fuck less. Let's get to Mike Africa right now. We have joining us on Higher Learning right now one of the most sought after writers and speakers in America, in the world. Has a new book coming out August 6th called On a Move, Philadelphia's Notorious Bombing and a Native Son Lifelong Battle for Justice. Representing the MOVE organization out of Philadelphia, we have Mike Africa Jr. joining us today on Higher Learning. How you doing, my brother?
I feel great. How y'all doing today?
We're good.
We're really
Thank
good,
you.
really good.
And thank you for being here.
You know, what happened in Philly with the MOVE bombing back in the day is one of the most, like you say on the cover of your book, notorious happenings in the history of Black America, in the history of America. But it also ranks very high on the list of things the uninitiated would not think had ever happened or were possible in America's history. As you continue to tell this story and continue to do the work that you're doing right now, what do you think is the specific importance of MOVE's legacy and of recognizing what happened during with the bombing?
Well, I think the thing that probably sticks out for me the most is that the things that MOVE was talking about wasn't the kind of thing that you would think of as unreasonable asks. Clean water, food, clean food, good education. It really wasn't unreasonable things, but in this society, as we've seen, Dr. King was talking about equality. I want to drink from this clean water fountain. Ruby Bridges. Can we get some schooling? Why I got to go to school? So it's like it wasn't unreasonable, but to the people that's in power, sometimes simple asks can be unreasonable. And I think the biggest takeaway from me on this is that the people that committed this atrocity and dropped this bomb, nobody served any punishment for it. The police commissioner that put shrapnel in the bomb to make sure that it did the most harm that it could possibly do upon detonation, the fire commission that's let the fire burn, the mayor that was a part of the orchestration of the bombing that shot 10,000 rounds of ammunition by the police. Nobody except for the lone adult survivor, Ramona Africa, served any time in prison. The children that were killed, 5 children were shot to death, burned to death. The Penn Medicine Museum stole their body parts and put them in the museum, and there was no punishment for the people who did these things. And, it kind of it's like, it's unbelievable. It's hard to believe in a country that is supposed to be so free that we're dealing with issues like this right now in 2020, 2024. When we learned about slavery and, the Jim Crow South and all of these things that are in our parents' and grandparents' time period, it's like those things don't happen anymore. But right here today, 2024, we're still dealing with Penn and Princeton stealing the remains of children that were bombing victims from 1985. And no accountability. There's nobody suffering any punishment for it. That's a crime.
Take it back a second because it's embarrassing for me to admit this, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners might be hearing about MOVE and what happened in May of 1985 for the first time. I didn't learn about it until a few years ago watching the documentary documentary you did with Tommy Oliver. That was the first time. And I was incredibly upset that something like this happened the year I was born, and I had no idea about this. And I would imagine, I was actually talking to someone because I was saying we were going to interview you, and they had not even heard about it. And it's so troubling that this happened in our own country and people don't know. So for you and for some of our, or for our audience members who might not know, can you talk about why now you're writing the book? Because it's my understanding that this is the first time someone from Move is telling the story.
Right. I'm glad you asked me that. One of the things about Move is that Move is just like any other group. Move is just like any other family. Everybody's got the uncle and the aunt that they really don't want to see on Thanksgiving, but you kind of got to invite them because they family. You know what I mean? And so Move has a lot of people in the organization that just don't like each other. And, you know, there's kind of a hierarchy too. And some people kind of dictate about what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And I just like kind of bucked the whole system. It was like, you know what? I'm not listening to y'all stupid. I'm not listening to y'all no more. So like, when I was working on some of the projects, like, you know, to fight for political prisoners, like Mumia Abu-Jamal, and my parents were in prison for 40 years and all these things, like, it just hit me. Like, we always complaining about the system telling our story wrong or lying about something. We read the paper. It didn't happen that way. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yo, nobody has ever written a story about the history of Move. Ramona Africa survived the bomb. She never wrote the story of Move. My mother and my father and other Move members spent 40 years in prison. During that time they were in prison, they never wrote a book about the history of Move. And with John Africa being my great uncle, he founded the organization in the 70s. And my grandmother is his sister, and my Aunt Louise, she owned a house on Osage Avenue. We are nearly 50 years in of the history of Move's existence. And I'm just like, you know what? Somebody got to do it. You ever hear the story of Dory Miller? Dory Miller was a cook on a naval ship, a black cook on a naval ship. And they were being attacked by kamikazes, Japanese air fleet. And while he was cutting potatoes in the mess hall, the person that's supposed to be on the gun is under the table, hiding, shivering. And Dory Miller's like, if you under the table, who's on the gun? So he ran up above deck and he started firing, and he shot down 6 or 7 kamikazes and stopped them from destroying the naval fleet. And when they asked him, as they're giving him his awards for his valor and all of this, they asked him, they said, what made you go up there as a cook? What made you decide to get on the gun? And he said, I did what had to be done. And that's why I wrote this book on the Move, because it hadn't been done, and I did what had to be done.
Yeah. I think I learned about that. It's funny. I learned about that because Cuba played him in a movie, I think. Cuba Gooding Jr., there was a movie where Cuba Gooding Jr. goes and grabs a gun, and I'm sitting down with my dad. My dad goes, boy, that really happened. That's an American hero right there. Like,
there you go.
Yeah. So you were born into the movement. You were born into Move. Right. You were born into the movement. What was it like growing up around so many people that were so deep into the struggle for liberation and equality?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. I mean, every time you turn around, there's a fight, there's some kind of confrontation. You don't know if people are going to go to this demonstration and come home or go to jail. It was terrifying. And, you know, when there's a lot happening and the kids are not the primary target for information, a lot of information you find out later. And I think that was the kind of big disservice for me. Like, it was like, you know, neighbors knew more about what was happening with the external side of Move because they were reading the newspapers and they were watching the news. So it was like certain things about the organization they knew that we didn't know, even though we were members in the organization. And, you know, you always knew that something was going to get worse. That's what it was like. You know, the Move members are yelling at neighbors about something. They're fighting with the police about something. We're in court for something and a fight breaks out. The dogs are coming to attack dogs from the police. There was always something. And you just had that feeling that one day something's going to get really bad. Even as a young person, you just felt it. And, you know, it was terrifying. But I think that the security of knowing that you got all of these other people, even though you're going through these things, you got people with you. You got people they got your back. Everybody is down for, okay, if it's going down, we're going down together. And if it's not going down, we're going to be victorious together too. So that was a positive aspect, but it was terrifying, man, to know that like at any given moment, everybody that you know and love could just be swept off and taken to jail and you never see them again. You know, people died. People got hurt really bad. People's arms got broken. People got burned. It was terrifying, you know, and just because that era is over doesn't mean that the trauma that I experienced is over. You know, I still live with it. I still wake up sometimes thinking about things and trembling. It's terrifying. But, you know, but the important thing is we got to keep moving.
Yeah, if you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but if you can discuss the aftermath of the bombing and the impact that it had on the organization and you and your family and just the community in general.
Yeah, you know, that's a wound that has never healed and never will for the people that remember it. If you talk to anybody about the bombing that remember when it happened, they know exactly where they were when it happened. They know what they were doing when it happened. And they can always, there's always a sense of discomfort around the topic because children died. You know, I mean, you could say whatever you want to say about Move. Move was crazy. Move was violent. Move was terrorist. They were over the top. They were, radical. But, you know, you can't say that about them kids. The Move children, you talking about 9-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids, they didn't deserve to be shot and bombed and burned and their bodies being stolen by a museum and preserved on somebody's trophy room, you know. And so the impact is devastating. Anybody, not just by like the community members of Move or their surrounding area. When the government dropped that bomb, they let that fire burn, and it burnt down 61 homes and left 250 people homeless instantly. Today, you at your friend's house, you at your cousin's house spending the night, and you go home to no home, you know, and those people haven't forgotten about that. They still feel the effects of that. Their houses were never rebuilt the way that they were before. They always had issues with it. They had the trauma of going to school and people asking them questions about what happened on your block. I mean, it's a void that will never be filled. There's no amount of time that will pass that can fix what happened on that day. You know, so, you know, we all still feel it. And the police officers, I know there's a lot of police officers who did not know what they were going out there to do that day that feel the effects of what happened out there too. I know some police officers actually committed suicide after the bombing and after the testimony of other officers that admitted to shooting at children, you know. And so the firemen, the doctors that nursed people to health that have been victims of the burns, you know, everybody that knows anything about that bombing when it happened still feel the effects of it heavily.
The book is On the Move, Philadelphia's Notorious Bombing and a Native Son's Lifelong Battle for Justice. It's out August 6th. Justice is in the title. You don't have to give up too much because we want to go out and get the book. We don't have to give us too much.
Okay.
What would be justice? What justice do you feel like you're searching for and looking for?
The justice for me in this book comes from part of the struggle for me in life was that during some of these confrontations between Move and the city of Philadelphia's police, my parents were arrested and they were put in prison and they were given 100-year sentences for a crime they did not commit. And justice for me was seeing my family free. And that was, I was born in a jail cell. My parents have been in prison longer than I've been alive. And when I was 13 years old and started to learn about their imprisonment and that they were in prison, these two Black people were in prison for killing a white cop, even though everybody know they didn't do it. The mayor of the city said he knew they didn't do it. The judge that sentenced them said, He didn't believe they did it, but they were still going to be sentenced with this 100-year sentence. And when I was 13 years old, I started working to free them. I started trying to find the needle in the haystack. I traveled around the world trying to get support from people with Ramona Africa and other MOVE members and trying to get their freedom. And for me, justice would have been to see them come home from prison.
Mm. Have your parents read the book? And if so, like, what are their thoughts?
They don't like to read it because it takes them back to a time that was really uncomfortable. I mean, imagine you're in a prison cell and you're trying to get information about your family members that were bombed. You don't know what happened. You can't rely on the news media. Anybody that you would call to get information are people that were at the house that was bombed. So who do you call? So it's for them, most of the book is just torment. And, as they would send me letters and talk about what they thought of it, I could feel the pain through the pen. I could hear the pain in their voices as they talked about it over the phone. So they don't really like to read it, but the accuracy of it, they respect.
Mike, the movement's taken so much from you, man. So much from people. What has it given you?
I don't think the movement has really taken anything from me. I think the system has taken something from me. The movement has given me love. I get love and support everywhere I go from people in the movement and the struggle. I know every child of the children of revolutionaries, the daughters of Assata Shakur, the son of Fred Hampton, the children of Russell Maroon Shoatz, Dr. King, Nina Simone. I know everybody that are children of revolutionaries. Malcolm X's kids. I'm in connection and community with people. Sonia Sanchez and everybody. And the movement has given me life and support and love and hugs, and I love it. But the system, they've taken my parents away from me. They've taken opportunities for me to get to know my other MOVE brothers and sisters by taking their lives. They've taken a lot. But listen, I have a thing that I developed when I was a young person, and it is happiness is a choice. And we're all going to go through things. Everybody's going to experience sadness. Some people may just experience depression. There's a lot of negative thoughts that will roam through our minds as we live this life. But I believe that happiness is a choice. And you can either get busy trying to wrap your mind around why this system exists and does the type of things to Black people and to us that it does, and use that as an excuse to wallow in self-pity, or you can get busy building the structure to create your own mental satisfaction. And I really believe in that. And I use that as a tool to keep myself feeling better about the situation and the life that I've lived. And I've had some great achievements. If you read the book, you'll learn a lot about the achievements that I've come across for myself. And I'm very proud of the person that I've become over these years.
I was gonna ask you, but it sounds like you kind of answered it in writing this book. If you felt like it was a healing process for you in any way. I know writing can be very therapeutic, but if helping to tell this story in your words and somebody who lived it healed you anyway. But I mean, you kind of already answered it.
Yeah, it does. It's helpful because when you have to remember and revisit certain thoughts that you had, one of the things that I found about writing this book is during the research process, even though I know the story, I still have to research certain things. I have to ask my family members what happened on this day. Certain things happened before I was born. So even though I might know the story, you still have to, do that due diligence to learn and investigate. And I learned that a lot of people didn't hate us as much as we thought they did. A lot of the issues that we had with people were simple misunderstandings that without the tension that was created by like the news media and City Hall, we wouldn't have actually been enemies. There is a person by the name of Andino Ward. He is the father of the son, the kid that survived the bombing. The kid's name was Birdie Africa. And later, when he reunited with his father, he became Michael Moses Ward. And I had never known Andino Ward before. And all the stories that I heard about him were like, people just told me these stories that he was like a monster. After the smoke cleared and some time passed, I reached out to him. Just, found a way to call him on the phone. And I really wish I knew him then, because some of the same issues that Move complained about or dealt with, or he was doing the same thing. It's mind-boggling to me that there wasn't a good relationship between him and some of the members of Move, because and when I talk to him now, he's got a show on the Actual Factuals, Kicking the Actual Factuals. And I'm listening to him and I'm like, he sounds like us in a lot of ways, talking about some of the issues. So it was really, really important that I learned that lesson, because Birdie was one of the big brothers to me in the organization. And I never got to see him again after the bombing. And so to learn that his father is this amazing person that has, Move and him will never get along, because he believes, what he believes about how things went wrong in Move, and it, created situations that harmed his son. But that being said, the ideologies around certain things are so similar, it's scary. So I think that it's like a relationship, like a marriage. I've been together with my wife for 27 years. And communication is the most important aspect of our relationship. In the beginning, we would argue while we were agreeing about something.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
We just didn't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
And that's something that I learned to be very valuable from writing this book.
Last question from me, and you've been so generous with your time. On a Move, Philadelphia's notorious bombing and a Native son's lifelong battle for justice. Philadelphia now, as a city, Move had very specific goals in dealing with things, worldwide, across the diaspora, all that very specific world, but also right there in the city of Philadelphia. How do you feel like Philadelphia is now for the young black male, the young black female, the poor kid from the north side or anything like that? What do you see in the city now, and what work is left to be done in Philadelphia? You read so many headlines, but I feel like a lot of those get kicked around like a political football. How do you think of the city?
I think the city, as far as politics, has progressed in the way of, you have more black politicians. Philly had its first black mayor in 1985, which was Wilson Goode, who was the mayor when the bomb was dropped on Move. Since then, they've also had John Street and Michael Nutter, and now they have the first black woman mayor, Sherelle Parker. And there's a lot of politicians on the lower level that are black. But I also believe that without like the uprisings of George Floyd during that whole 2020 era, Philly hasn't really changed that much. Frank Rizzo was the mayor that sent my parents to prison, and everybody in Philadelphia knows how notoriously racist he was. Just recently, within the last few years, the statue, the 13-foot bronze statue of Frank Rizzo was removed. Philadelphia is a city that is 50% or so black. There are over 2,200 monuments or statues of figures in Philadelphia, and only 6 represent black people. And one of them is a very, very, very new placement of a statue of Joe Frazier. But Rocky, a fictional character, a white fictional character, gets more visits to his statue than Joe Frazier, the man who gave Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, his first loss. So I think Philadelphia has a long way to go when it comes to the disparity of racism, when it comes to the disparity of women. There's a women's movement in Philadelphia that, women are underpaid, they're undervalued. There's a whole issue of drugs. Philadelphia has a huge issue with drugs. And these issues it's hard to say, like they haven't even scratched the surface of some of these major topics. Philadelphia has a lot of work to do. I don't think that just because there's Black politicians now, that is enough to say that we've succeeded in any major ways when the issues that people raised, which is why we wanted to get these Black politicians in office, are still there in the city. So we have a lot of work to do.
Mike Africa Jr., thank you so much for joining the show. Everybody go out and get the book. Tell them where they can get the book, where they can follow you, and how they can support you.
You can get the book at www.mikeafricajr.com. There's a pop-up it'll show, and you can click that button. It'll take you to harpercollins.com, and you can pre-order the book. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Africa Jr., and I'm on Facebook and Twitter. I don't usually do a whole lot of social media stuff myself, but I'm on there. You can find me. And then, of course, we have other activities that we're doing. If you're in the Philly area, I'm doing a book signing at Temple at the Charles Library, and I'll be around. Come see me. Holla at your boy.
All right, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Peace, y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
No
Of
problem.
course.
Peace.
Take care.
All right, that's enough show. No more show. No more show.
You got to go get some rest.
I gotta go to sleep.
You got to go get some rest.
I gotta go to sleep. Rachel and the Dick Lust chat are gonna talk more about it. You guys should just start sharing some images in there. You already do.
No. I told you
Freaky.
the pictures don't do it.
Oh, wow.
We've had the conversation about dick pics.
Oh.
It's like not really.
Do you know what? We had a conversation on the Midnight Boys.
What?
Jomi, you know Jomi from the Midnight Boys. Jomi says he only uses his imagination.
He doesn't watch anything?
Doesn't watch anything.
You know what that means.
Yeah.
He's a freaky
He's a
ass
freaky ass nigga. That's a freaky ass nigga.
Wow, what an imagination Jomi has.
That's a freaky ass nigga. We was doing the podcast. We talking to him today, and he's like, yeah, sometimes you just use your imagination. I was like, Jomi, bro, you sick, dog. You sick, Jomi. You didn't think that we was gonna let that one die, Jones. That nigga Jones. Woo! All right, we out of here. Take the thinking caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel Lynn Lindsay. Bye, guys.